right into each other.
Welcome to Go Sports Tactics. Happy to have Kraft Jr. here from New York Xtreme.
This is huge. For us, this is the best match I think my team has ever played.
This is the type of stuff, guys out there, if you're playing divisional paintball, you have to have things like this.
Yeah, I love this moment right here. I just knew that if I got low enough, you'll see me bait the other way to make him think I'm going that way, and then kind of get low and go the other way.
He doesn't even have time to switch hands. He has to just do it one-handed.
For me, I know if you talk smack to me, it wakes me up.
Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
Welcome to Go Sports Live. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm excited and happy to have Kraft Jr. from New York Xtreme here on the live show. We already sat down this week, did some tactics. Definitely go and check that episode out. Is on the website currently on Go Sports. And man, yeah, paintball is back. We got one-on-one madness, the ultimate shootout. Hopefully you guys have been able to check out the quarterfinals. Nate Roberts, Matt Jackson. That one just dropped, I believe, yesterday. Also the 17th, Dimitri Ninos is taking on Jesse Stevens in the semifinals. And then live, we're going to have Kraft Jr. taking on Chad Bouchez. That's going to be a challenger battle in the Pro Tour, the HK Army Pro Tour. We will be broadcasting that live on Go Sports next week, next Friday. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, man. And also the championship, Tyler Hung, we had him on the show recently. Keith Brown, we have had him on the show as well. That's going to be the championship. And then also, we'll break a little bit of news here. I believe I did get confirmation today that we're going to have a third one-on-one battle at the Pro Tour, and it's going to be Brandon Cornell taking on the Ironman's Corey Hall. Brandon Cornell, of course, of Edmonton Impact. So, yeah, man, the ultimate shootout was nasty. I can't wait to see the Pro Tour. Again, it's all coming to you here on Go Sports. We're still awaiting the confirmation of the dates for the regional, divisional events, getting all those conferences together. I want to get Pat Kraft's thoughts on all that, his thoughts on New York Xtreme, his thoughts on this one-on-one battle with Chad Bouchez. It's about to go down here next week. I can't wait. All this stuff. I want to get your thoughts on all this, Pat. But first of all, how you doing, man? How you living? How's New York?
New York's good. It's getting better every single day. I think we're entering different phases around different regions of New York. So as far as the virus and everything, it's getting better. Day to day, it's beautiful out. I've had the liberty to go play some golf at my leisure, and I've just been preparing to go back to work and training super hard for this Pro Tour one-on-one opportunity I have against Chad Bouchez.
Nice. I didn't know you play golf. I play golf too. What's your best score ever? I don't have a handicap, but what's your best score?
I used to average like a 41 to like 43 in high school. I shot a 40 the other day. I missed like a 39. I missed a birdie putt on the 7th hole by like a half a foot. I was upset about that, but I'm not bad. Pretty good.
Let's hit the link someday. All right, so let's start off with your history though, dude, because we got a lot to talk about today. I want to hear you talk about New York Xtreme, your teammates, your thoughts on that East Coast division, which J Rabbit's called. His term is free. He's calling it very free, which basically means he thinks that it's the easiest of all of the conferences. Got to get your thoughts, obviously, on your competition, Chad Bouchez. In the one-on-one battle that's going down next Friday. I want to get your thoughts on the Ultimate Shootout. I don't know if you checked out any of those, but you could be a competitor in that sometime in the near future too. I think it's going to be interesting. So, but let's start out with, where'd you get your start, man? I always like to hear these stories about how guys cut their teeth and how they got to where they are. So how did you kind of get your start in this game?
Started when I was in middle school. I just envied all the videos and all the pros at the time that I was watching. I remember I grabbed like a DVD from like the local Video Vision store. It was like Denver, Colorado, like 2004. And I just spun that thing on repeat. Just like you might even been playing in the tournament, but I just spun it on repeat and just saw these. I saw these guys, man. Who'd you play for then? Was it I watched the finals. Excessive. Yeah, so I watched that thing like 100+ times, man, and I just like fell in love with the idea of like the man behind the mask. And I've always been an athletics person. I played basketball, baseball, golf, soccer growing up. So athletics is natural for me, and I love to compete. So I hit like a plateau in high school, and I kind of just needed an outlet for a sport that there was less politics in. Obviously, the further you go up in a higher divisional paintball, there is politics as well. But I was looking for an outlet, and paintball gave that to me, and I fell in love with the sport, man. My mom wouldn't let me go at first; like she just did not want me to go. And I remember my friend was like, "Hey, you should come with me. Like, we're going after school this day." And I was like, "All right, cool." So see my mom on like the couch; she was sleeping. And I was like, yo, this is the perfect opportunity. I'll go up to her, kind of prey on her weakness real quick, and she gave me the nod to go. And I scurried out of the house, and I'll never forget that day. But yeah, that's the day I fell in love with the sport. And long story short, it's given me the opportunity to have moments with my father. My father is a huge supporter of mine. If you've ever seen him at the events, he's the old guy in our pits, kind of looks like the Colonel from KFC. That's what we call him. So, but yeah, he's been such an influential person in my life, and in my journey in making it into pro and going through the divisional ranks. So, yeah, it's just paintball is something I love to do, and it's a part of me. It's a part of my life, and I wouldn't take it back for anything, honestly.
Yeah, that's a trip, because I remember also that going to ask my mom moment where I knew my dad didn't really care and he'd be down for it. My parents didn't really, they were supportive, but they weren't like the biggest, they didn't really care too much about paintball. So, it took them a long time to even like come to events. I remember when I was in, we had when Heroes for a Day was premiering, not Heroes for a Day, but Serial Killers was premiering. And I was like, hey dad, I'm in this documentary. You want to come see it? It's premiering at a theater. And he's like, what time is it? I was like, it's at 9 p.m. He's like, oh, that's too late for me. Like, he wouldn't even come to the theater to watch the movie, So I always got to give a shout out to your dad and parents that, again, my parents are awesome parents, but they just didn't really give two shits about paintball, really. But it's just always awesome to see that, man. To have that connection with your dad, and that he's a big supporter of, I think that's super cool. But yeah, I remember being all scared and going up and asking my mom. I remember like it was yesterday, and I was shocked when she said yes and signed the paper, because I needed to get her the consent form. I was just gonna forge her signature. She didn't want to sign it. But yeah, so talk to me a little bit about your journey. And then I do want to get, it was funny because we just saw the highlight clip of it, the very first loader dump ever, as Art and Darren went down the rabbit hole to find the clip. But anyway, so talk to me a little bit about your divisional journey, because I saw it looked like you and Frank were going at it. I thought I was laughing my ass off the other day as you and Frank were going back and forth on these different screenshots on Instagram about, just divisional rivals on the way up the ranks. And, now with New York Xtreme and Revo, it seems like you guys develop a rivalry with every single team that you play on New York Xtreme. But I think that, and you tell me what you think as far as your biggest rival is concerned, but it seems like Revo might actually be your actual biggest rival, because you're from the same neck of the woods. You guys have a long history of playing against each other over the years. But anyway, so talk to me a little bit about that divisional rivalry or your divisional story, and then these rivalries, because I was just laughing my ass off because it was just so funny. You and Frank were just going back and forth a couple days ago.
Yeah, me and Flamingo Legs, that's what I call him because he's got no legs. But me and Frank, we have a little bit of banter back and forth. But that got built in divisional, and I guess I'll hit that on the way. So I started playing for Lift Kids D4 X Ball. Man, I don't even remember the year, honestly. It's roughly 13, 14 years ago. I played D4X at World Cup. We took 3rd place. So it was like my second national event. It was right after Rock Hill. I don't even count that one as my first one because that was such a bad weekend for me. If I would have characterized, or I don't know what the right word is for it. If I would have, a lot of bad stuff happened that weekend. My gun got stolen. We went 0-4. Like, it was just like the worst experience ever, man. And if I would have just been like, oh, this is paintball, I would have never came back. But my dad wouldn't let me do that. So we just hit the ground running, man. I remember that year I got cut from Lift Kids D4, which was it was a time in my life that like kind of put this chip on my shoulder, and that's kind of when like my love for this game really, really, really took off, because I felt not valued, and that's kind of what made me who I am today, honestly. So I remember from Lift Kids D4, I went to Bloodline. We were playing with my best friends out of Boston. They're like, I met them through my sister. My sister is a lawyer out in Boston. She knew that I had a love for paintball, and she was like, hey, this is my friend. He can get you in. So then I started playing with Bloodline. We really didn't do much, honestly. And then it was in
what year was this? Like what year? Okay.
2011, 2010, I was on Bloodline for a long time. And then TNN, a team named TNM, it's a local place out of Coventry, Connecticut. They were having tryouts. My Harrison Fry was actually on the team on TNN. And he was like, hey, PK, he's like, you should come to these tryouts. Bring a couple of your guys from Bloodline, and we'll try to get you guys on. I was like, okay. So we ended up going. It was a 2-day tryout. We ended up smacking everybody. They picked up a whole line of us, cut 5 guys off their team, kept their best line, and then kept us. Harrison Fry actually got cut that day. He brought us to the tryout and then got cut. It's crazy. I'll never forget it. But the reason why I'll never forget it is because whatever they did worked, man. That first event we played in New Jersey Open as a team together, we took Division 3 over Revo in the finals in the rain. And that's kind of like where my rivalry with Revo stems from, because I remember we won the game 4-1. I went up the middle of the first point, was smoking fools down. I was having a good game then, and I think the only point we lost was a 3-on-1, and I lost it to Omara, and I brought it down from a 3-on-1 to a 1-on-1, and then I lost a 1-on-1. So, and then they were like talking on the internet when we won the event. It was like that's kind of like where I get mad about like the whole Revo thing, because like they're a great team and stuff, but like if you lose, you gotta bite your tongue a little bit because you didn't win. You know what I'm saying? But so I mean, now it's just been every single time I play Revo, I just have this huge chip on my shoulder. I think I have pretty good games against them. Last year they got the better of us a couple times, couple 1-point victories. But yeah, that's just us needing to work harder. But so after I went and played for TNN. I went back to Bloodline because TNN disbanded, and then I was in Division 2. We didn't do very well ever. It's just a good group of friends, man. It was like my boys growing up, and I'll never forget them. Shout out to Bloodline guys. Love you guys. If you guys are watching this, love you guys. But yeah, so then from Bloodline, I went into this kind of weird area of my paintball career that I didn't have a team, and I was floating around. I was looking for an opportunity. I ended up getting a call to go play, and like it's called the CNYPL. It's a league in upstate New York, and this is where the New York Outlaws and New York Xtreme actually started. It's honestly a crazy story, man. Like I knew none of these guys, and they were the closest paintballers to me, and I had always outsourced to play in New Jersey or PA or Boston, or or New England, whatever the case may be. And I never had really came across Bo Milo, the Husseins, and John Delano from 40 minutes.
Let me ask you this. Can I ask you this question? How's that even possible? Because a lot of times that's, who you're with and who you're end up riding with and what team you're on. Like a lot of that's contingent on what field you play with and who got you into the game, and then what opportunities and roads get paved for you, kind of, move to move, event to event to event, friendship to friendship. But that is kind of interesting that you didn't click with, or you weren't with those dudes kind of to start with, because you are close to them logistically. So how did you end up getting, becoming a mercenary for, as a upstate New Yorker, but playing for teams from Jersey or, all these other states? Because there is a little bit of a scene that's kind of close to you. So I'm just wondering, like, how you didn't kind of come up in that scene. Again, no knock at all. I'm just wondering how that's possible, because that I can hear that story every now and then in different areas of the world.
Yeah.
And then that one key guy ends up getting linked up. It's like Voltron forming. It's like all of a sudden this part comes over here, and then Voltron forms, and boom, all of a sudden you're this super scary monster. But anyway, so how's that possible?
So, I mean, honestly, my interpretation of it is that I was just a little bit younger than that age group. And I never really I think I was just a little bit younger. So I made friends that were more along the line of my age group. When I went to tournaments or online, they would see me post pictures, and we'd be like friendly, you know what I mean? And then my sister was a huge influence in my paintball career, because she dated one in college and then introduced me to him years down the line. And he got me my in with, he was playing AXBL at the time on Somerville Crisis. And he got me in with all the Boston boys. And then I found Ant Vitale, the younger one. And then I met his dad, obviously, that helps run Boston Paintball. But yeah, those guys were all just my age bracket. And I used to see the Husseins at the airport all the time. And I would just they'd be looking at me all weird, because they knew I played paintball. You know that weird thing where someone plays paintball in the airport, but you don't want to say nothing. You know what I mean? That was it.
For real. Yeah. You can look at them and you're you see the Planet Eclipse bag or something, or the shirt, whatever, the HK shirt, whatever it is, it may be, and you're looking at him, and he's looking at you, and you're like, do I know this dude? And he's like, do I know this dude? And you're like, I know this guy plays. Should I say something? And then you just Anyway, yes, I know the feeling.
Just go along your way. And I mean, we'd always be on the same flights together. And it's why didn't I ask them? I never even talked to them. And then this random Winter League series, the Harrison Fry is yo, come up. Well, it's not serious at all. Just come ball out, have some fun. So I go up with my friends. I road trip with a couple of my buddies. We get there the night before. We get absolutely hammered. And I'm not in the mood. I have a 12 o'clock match. So I'm like, all right, I got some time. Harrison Fry calls me at 8:30 and it's hey, this team needs bodies. Come down right now. I was staying at the hotel. It was literally right behind the field. So I was all right, slap myself in the face, get some water on my face, wake myself up, go down to the field, and Bo Milo, the Husseins, John Delano, and company, for those that I didn't mention, you know who you are, they were all playing in the pit as I was gearing up. They were literally already started the match. I'm gearing up, and then it was just crazy how it all went down, man. I just started I was just having games, and we played 187. We lost by 1 point, and I think that's the moment when we kind of looked around and we were all right, we got something here. This could be actually potentially good. 187 is a great team. We lost by 1. This is our first match together. Okay. So then at the end of the day, Harris Hussein was hey, we don't really know you that well, but if you want to come on, we're playing D1 in Dallas. It was the last PSP event or something like that, or one of the last Dallases. And I came on. I didn't even play a point. I played 1 point and I got shot off the break, and then I never played another point the whole event, because they just didn't know me. You know how paintball is. It's if they don't trust you, if they don't have faith in you, bro, they're not putting you out there. There's other guys that can do the job. Exactly. And and there's nothing wrong with that, but I was good, and I knew that, so I didn't get discouraged. And I remember going back to practice, and I would just started working them. I knew I had to show everybody at practice that I was a beast, and that's what I did. And I'm not a practice player by any means. You can ask anybody. If I get on a new team and you go off of practice, I'm sitting the bench. I'm just not a practice player. I'm an event player. I come when it matters. I rather that 100 times over than be a practice player. But that's just me.
Look, it's the famous, we talk about practice thing. It's tough though, because if you're not a practice player, you have to prove yourself. There's a proving grounds, and there are levels to the proving grounds. Obviously, the tournament is the biggest of the proving grounds. Sunday is the biggest of, the deepest of the water for the tournament is concerned. But in order to get an opportunity, you got to get out there some way, shape, or form. And typically that happens in practice. It's like if you don't show something in practice, then it kind of takes a huge leap of faith because, you do have to get out there eventually. So, yeah, it's tough. If you're not a practice player, that could explain why maybe it took a little bit of time for you to find your vibe because, now I feel you've kind of carved yourself out a real big starting niche on New York Xtreme. I want you to continue to tell your story to where, so you feel it kind of getting concluded as far as, how this current incarnation of New York Xtreme formed and how you fit in. But as far as what I've seen as a fan and as an observer, like to me, it's like there's our core members of your guys' starting squad. And then even going back and looking to see the squad you have, that's because you have a little bit different squad now. You picked up Tim, you got who's the dude who plays the D side for you? I'm just spacing on his name real quick. Rosati. You got Rosati back. Yeah. He's just so quiet sometimes. I've tried to remember. And Rosati, will you please hit me up, dog? I've been trying to get you on the show for like a year. Anyway, so
I texted him last night.
Maybe you can help me with that, Pat. Yeah. All right.
I got you.
It's like, come on, bro. People got to hear your story, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about before, Pat. No one just wakes up in the morning and gives a shit about your life. We got to tell people a story. We got to entertain people here. Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Yes.
Rosati, hit me up. But he's key guy on your team. He's really good out there. You're incredibly exceptional at what you do. Harris Hussein, not the fastest dude out there, not the smallest guy, but he gets it done. You guys have this awesome chip on your shoulder, and I like the new lineup that you guys have all kind of put together. Shout out to Bo Milo and the coach of the squad. Anyway, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But take me to where this current incarnation got together. You guys, came out, went pro, started making a name for yourselves. Like we said, play with that swagger, play with a gigantic chip on your shoulder. You've got a lot of enemies out there because you guys just go crazy against every team you play to start all these rivalries. But you got tons of fans. I've had people hit me up recently, and they were like, "Dude, I'm a huge fan of Pat Kraft's game." And I said, "I am too, man. That's why I'm looking forward to having you on the show. I'm really looking forward to seeing you play Chad Bouchez in this one-on-one. Love to get you in the ultimate shootout too and see how you fare there." But it's just been interesting because you have a very, you're not, you're a tall, skinnier dude, but you are pretty quick, but you play a counterpunch game. You also can play aggressive when you need to, but you have a very diverse game and your skill set is very diverse. I want to talk about that in a little bit, but I'm just kind of setting the stage a little bit here. But talk to me about this new current incarnation of New York Xtreme and how you guys got it all together.
So yeah, as soon as we became the New York Outlaws, we came into semi-pro. We started, I think our third event, we took third, and then we were like, all right, we're just gonna. For me, that was the highest rank in any division that I've ever placed. So besides the first place back in 2011, but that was Division 3, so it's not the same to me. But yeah, so after that, we kind of just hit the ground running, and we've been together ever since. I mean, me and the Husseins and Bo are the only 4 that have played every event that we could. Obviously, with Arslan's conditions a little bit different, but he would be there if he could have. So us 4 have never really missed an event. But throughout the years, we've just tried to we've tried to evolve. Obviously, we've picked up numerous amounts of players. We've had such talented rosters, honestly, and yeah, I mean, through the divisionals, we always had rivalries because it just makes the game more fun. You know what I mean? It's just like when we're talking smack, they're talking smack. It just makes for a better game. So, I mean, let's see. I think our first year in pro is kind of where everything started to take off. Obviously, let's track back to our last year in semi-pro. We took second place at Chicago, lost to GMG by 1 point, and then we took second place at World Cup, lost to DMG by 1 point in overtime with the stupidest penalty of all time. But that's a story for another time. But so we lose those two. We lose those 2 games, and we end up placing second overall. This was 2017, I think, the end of that season. And yeah, we were kind of like, dang, man, we were right there 2 events in a row. We were kind of in the winter, like the cold winters in New York, man, snow, and we're just kind of all not depressed, but damn, when are we gonna be able to play another event? And I get a phone call from Arslan. He's like, hey, they're thinking about expanding the pro division by 4 teams, and we're gonna be one of the teams they bring up. And I was like, man, I really wanted to earn that. I really did want to earn that. But they gave us a call, and we're not going to say no. So we just started grinding, man. We just started grinding. Working on, I remember our first event, we went like 1-3, and you guys were torturing us on the webcast for our closing and just like fundamentals. And I remember we went back until that next event, and we didn't play another point. We just did drills, closing drills. That's it. And that's kind of what we did. What we're doing now, honestly. But I'll get to that. But our team just kind of kept evolving. Our first year, we were really good. I thought we were really good. I think if Rosati stayed that first year, I think we would have been Gucci the next year. I mean, we took a 6. We placed Sunday twice. I know Elevation did the same thing, but they weren't really. I mean, they had some beginners luck. They're a really good team, man. But people kind of figured out their game over the season, where we kind of like maintained a little bit and started impressing people with multiple dynamic looks from us. So we go after our first year. We took, I think it was 11th, right? Something like that. 12th.
Wait, hold on. Let me just hit pause real quick. Hold on. I just want to hit pause real quick. Since this is the first year of the pro, I think this is an appropriate time to bring this up, because we were texting about this earlier, and we did find the clip, the very first loader dump, since this thing has become a pandemic. We're living in a pandemic world. You have spread the loader dump across all levels of paintball. I one of my buddies that we bring up every now and then for the divisional games. Shout out to Mike Jeffrey, but he was like, bro, the Kraft loader dump is spread like a virus on the divisional leagues. Everyone's doing it now. So I got to ask you, where did that come from? Did you just think of doing that organically, just as it happened, or was this something you planned? Like, this is going to be my signature celebration. Here's my sig celly. I'm going to do the loader dump. So where did it come from? I figured this, since it did come the first year pro, we were going back and forth, and we found the exact moment. So where did it come from, since it's become quite a thing?
Yeah, man. In semi-pro, I used to always shoot off the break. So after every point, I would dump my loader out on the side, and no one ever really noticed it. It wasn't ever like a taunt like I'm doing it now. But it kind of evolved over time. Our first year in pro, I remember the first 2 events, or the first event. Let's start there. All my family, all my friends were like, because I'm kind of like loud. I'm kind of brash. I'm a little wild cardish. You know what I mean? I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and honestly, I think that's my biggest. I think it's my biggest asset. But some people see it as like kind of, I don't know, arrogant or just cocky. And
but that's just me being me, man. That's spent very much time in New York, dude. Because if you've known any New Yorkers, any East Coasters, Boston, Philly, New York, you guys are all cut out of the same cloth, man. And like, as a Californian, especially Southern California, like, it was so fun to play against you guys, and to be. I spent a lot of time up in that area of the world with the original New York Xtreme guys back in the day, and it was just so fun, because it was awesome to be around that much energy all the time. There's a special energy to the East Coasters. So yeah, sure, it can be a little too much sometimes for some people. But I don't know. I just think it's super fun to be around. I think it's fun to watch. So I hope you guys. I hope that East Coasters never get tamed. I really do, because it's something unique about the culture up there. So I'm sorry, but I just had to put that in there. It's like, anyone thinks that's. You haven't spent much time in New York, is all I'm saying. Because go there, spend time with the people. Yes, they're super intense, but it's part of the culture. It's just part of being in that area. It's like survival of the fittest up in that area of the world.
No, for real, and that's really what it is. It's like if you're tameable, then like you show weakness, and but the first 2 events, I kind of like tamed all my my personality, and like I was like, oh, I got to be pro now. I got to be politically correct, or whatever the case may be. I just got to be you know what I mean, just doing what everybody else wanted. And I remember after the second event, I was like, yo, this isn't working. And it's not that I want to be validated by the webcasters or anybody on there, but no one was saying my name. Nobody was noticing me. So I was like, I'm on unleash the beast and just be myself. And that's kind of when my career started taking off. And it was the third event. It was Chicago against Elevation. I think it was a 1-1 score. And I pulled off a 2-on-1. I got real sneaky, backfilled twice. and clipped one guy with one ball down the wire and then waited on the other guy until he made a mistake and then capitalized. But it was just me, man. And then I just started it from there. I just dumped my hopper in the middle of the field. I had nothing else to do. I had a bunch of paint on my back. I was like, you know what? Like I was just being myself. It was completely organic. The refs actually told me to stop talking smack to their pits. So that's probably, I was like, oh, well, I can't talk anymore. Well, let me do something with my hands. So that's kind of where it stemmed from. And now it's like a taunt. It's not disrespectful. I'm just trying to get like in your head. And if I deter your mental force from the game that's at hand and it distracts you for even a millisecond, I've won. So, I mean, hey, let me get in your head. So just get mad when I do it.
Yeah, no, there's a certain, like, you can even see it there. You have like a little bit of like a skip in your step. You like puff your chest up, you get real tall, you kind of start gliding across the grass like this, loader dump again, real stiff up again, and then you kind of like go out like this. And it's like a very specific, like everyone's got their specific sig selly down, and it just comes from, just an organic place. So anytime I always got to ask, and I think it's just an interesting story because again, this loader dump has become so it's everywhere, dude. Like you go down to the divisionals, watch the divisional games, and everyone's doing it. So there is your origin story for the loader dump. All right, so I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I figured, I just had to ask that. I would not be doing my job if I did not ask about the goddamn loader dump and its origins. Get the origin story for that. Yeah. For that, the most famous sig selling in paintball right now. All right, sorry. Continue your story, New York Xtreme. My bad.
All right, so no, it's all good. So the first year, we kind of like rode off those 2 Sundays. We're very excited about the future. The off season comes, and like every off season paintball, little change, you know what I mean? So Rosati ends up getting the call from Impact and going to Impact. Nobody else from our team, I don't think anybody else from our team left on their own terms. Ours situation is what it is, obviously. We had him for Vegas, but we knew that we had to make some pickups in case anybody got hurt. So we decided to grab Robbie Altimore from Long Island from the Bears, Scotty Graham from Canada, and then we also picked up, oh man, this is awful, Jared Lackey from I think North Carolina or South Carolina. But anyway, so these guys are all great dudes. They fit into the system seamlessly, man. I love those guys, man. Last year was a great year. Obviously, you guys, if anyone watched the Tactics episode, that team will have a win that we'll never stop talking about for forever. So, yeah. But yeah, the second year we didn't perform as well as we should have with that roster. I mean, I loved our roster. I thought we were super dynamic. The coaching staff was great, and Jesse Benoit and Patrick Sinelli, the combination for most of the year. But we just fell short. We kept falling short. We kept going 2-2, missing Sunday by 1, hoping and praying that another team would beat another team, so we'd fall into the next round. But I mean, that's really not the way you can do it, or not the way you're supposed to do it. So this offseason, we made some changes. We cut Jared Lackey. Who else did we cut? Sorry. Who else did Scott Graham. And it's not because of harsh feelings or anything like that. It was just kind of like it just wasn't working out great for both parties. And shout out to both those guys. Love you guys. But yeah, it just didn't. And that didn't come from me. That comes from higher up. That's not my decision.
Yeah. Well, and also when I talked to Bo Milo about this, he said, his explanation of those specific moves, because he said, he's like, dude, Scotty Graham and Lackey, they're they're hella good players. They're very good at what they do. We just wanted to go with a more local group so we could get, like, we know that, like, we're trying to train against the best teams we possibly can. We want to play other pro teams, but we also know, and I think it was so good to hear that you guys are doing situational drills. It's like people will always ask me, hey man, what is it going to take for us to transcend, for us to get to the next level in the game? And if you're not doing situational awareness drills, you're not doing what you need to be doing, because you're hoping to God you're gonna play. If you're just playing points, like, again, dude, paintball's fun. So you're gonna go out play paintball. It's a lot more fun to play points, and it's a lot more fun to play points against other teams, and it's even more fun to play points against other teams that aren't as good as you, because then you get to ass swamp those dudes all weekend long and feel really good about yourself at the end of the day. But if you're really truly a hardcore paintball player and you are training to be really good at tournament paintball at the events I don't care what division it is, and you have a dream to ascend, then that is not the way to go about playing this game and to be the best player you can be. You need to play people that are better than you as much as you possibly can. This is, we say this all the damn time. But there is no other road. This is the only road. Play better people than you as much as you possibly can. If you're an emerging team, your divisional team, play the best team in your area. Be there first. Offer to set up the field. If you have a field, offer to bring your field. Basically go above and beyond so that better team, whether it's a D1, D2, whatever, so they just show up, the field's ready to go, and guess what? They're going to want to play you all the time. They'll show up to play you as much as they possibly can because they have to do less work. So, and that's a great way to kind of get your foot in the door, whether as a player, as a team, whatever it may be. And then slowly but surely, and then so it's situational awareness drills. If you're not doing situational drills, if you're not doing closing drills, if you're not doing, where you have the 2 guys are trying to hold on, the 3 are trying to break it in a minute, et cetera, through every different variation, then you're hoping to God that those situations present themselves while you're playing points. And that is not the smartest way to do it. And so the fact that you said that's what you guys are doing, that just puts a giant rocket booster in your ability to get better at this game. And so anyway, so with changing up of the squad and trying to get more local practices in with local dudes, that makes a lot of sense. So because that's the key right there.
Yeah. So, I mean, we made some changes and adjustments, and it was all for that reason, precisely. It's just strategy-wise, it would give us the best opportunity to compete at a higher level, and that's what we want to do. We're not in the pro division to skate by and take 15th or 12th. You know what I mean? We're here to compete. I think that's one thing that New Yorkers do. We're here to compete. So we picked up Rosati. Tim Stetzel came along last year at World Cup. He was actually there for the Russians win, but he didn't play much. But we brought him on just to kind of get him adjusted to the pace. So this year he would be prepared to start if we did need him. We had some injuries in our preparation for Vegas. Will Hennessy went down. He played at the event, but he was hurt. Most of our roster, honestly, in Vegas was hurt. But so we went into Vegas with Rosati's, Tim Stetzel, John Delano, myself, Harris Hussein. We picked up Robbie Altimore as a precautionary measure because we knew that we would need another guy. And we're just waiting for Arslan to come back. Obviously, Bo Milo I mean, we definitely needed him, 100%. Robbie is a great paintball player, and that's it. The reason why he didn't want to come back is because of the coaching situation. And I understand that we made some adjustments to our coaches as well this year. Patrick Sinelli is no longer with us. Jesse Benoit is controlling the calls now. I think he's a great coach. He's got a great mind for the game. He's been around a long, long time. He just brings that, and he's an edgy guy himself. He's very I don't know, raw, I would say. And we like that. We like that when you're edgy like that and you kind of bond with us like that. So our team is, I think right now, honestly, I think it's the strongest roster we've ever had when we're healthy. I was hurt in Vegas. Will was hurt in Vegas. Bo Milo tore his quadricep the day before Vegas practicing against Dynasty. Rosati was overcoming his ankle injury. So you did not. Tim got hurt. You did not see the best New York Xtreme at Vegas at all. And that's the best part is that we still. I know we skated in. We went 2-2. We had a tough game against X Factor
again.
We also. Shocker. I mean, we've actually beaten them too. So I mean, we beat them at Chicago our first year. We know how to beat good teams. So I'm just, but
you guys. So I just real quick in Vegas for everyone out there, Vegas, New York Xtreme. You guys didn't have the best plus minus because you got blown out by X Factor in that wild card match, and you got blown out by the Ironman. But you lost a 2-point match to X Factor in that last game, that 6-8 loss. You beat the Outlaws 7-4. You beat Revo 7-6. You lost the Ironman by 6. Mercy Rule loss. They had a real close one against X Factor, 6-8, and then they blew you out in the wild card round. You guys ended up 22 points for, 32 points against for a negative 10. But you had 7 dudes essentially and lots of injuries. And I just think, if anyone was going to benefit from this quarantine time and this big layoff, you guys are one of those teams to get everyone back to 100%. But this is kind of this is a story often told with New York Xtreme. You guys ended up, last year, 13th, 12th, 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 11th. weren't able to make a Sunday, going, either 1-2 or 2-2 all the damn time. Just always, it was like a ritual. I'd have Bo Milo come up, and we should get you in one of these games too, come up and do a game with us. But Bo would come up and he'd be like, well, we went 2-2 again. And here I am crossing my fingers, and I'm rooting for, just this team right here, because we need them to beat such and such team by 3 points. And if they if they beat them by 3 and then they lose by 4, then we got a chance. And it was just like, it was like a ritual, dude. It's like every single event. It was like Infamous was similar. Infamous would lose their first two games and win their second 2 games and then barely make it in. It was, so that's kind of where you guys are at. But it is incredibly hard. It's incredibly hard in the Pro Division, man. It's a very, very difficult. But because I want to move on, I want to start talking about these one-on-ones. But I do want to get just your last thoughts here on your Vegas performance and this lineup. So let me ask you this question: is everyone healthy right now? Like, give me the no BS assessment of, is everyone healthy?
We're actually getting our first mandatory practice since Vegas. We're practicing this weekend. We're flying everybody out, so we'll all be together this weekend, both days. And I guess we'll see. I know one of my teammates is hurt. John Delano might have to get surgery, because he kind of took this time to heal on his own. Went back and got it looked at, and doesn't look very good. But he has something lined up next week, and if that helps him, and then he'll be back. But for the most part, we're pretty healthy. Yeah, for the most part.
So are you healed?
And I'm always fighting something, I feel like. I think it's my
yeah,
mental,
one of those guys.
my stress levels. I'm always fighting something. It's like as soon as something heals, I have something else. But it's I'm fine. I could play a whole tournament tomorrow if I needed to, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, you got a one-on-one battle to come up here, or coming up here shortly. So I'm hoping. I was just wondering, so what if you had to give a percentage as to how healthy you are right now? It's like an 85%, 90%, 75%. Like, what rating would you give your body right now?
I just went to the chiropractor, so I'm feeling pretty good. I would say I had a really bad injury when I was in divisional. I hurt my back pretty bad. So I'm never like at more than 90. I would say like 80, 85 right now, 80.
Okay.
So I'm pretty good.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I'm pretty good.
You're right on. Okay. So then, but is Tim healthy?
Tim Stetzel is back. Yeah. He's a young kid. He bounced back right away. He's fine. So,
yeah.
Rosati's ankle is getting better. Harris is still eating copious amounts of food and getting larger, but he'll still play the front snake for us.
Did he get tubby again?
And
he get tubby?
No. He's losing weight. I just like to. Me and Harris have a little thing, so I like to get after him a little bit. No, he's doing well. He's working hard, honestly, and he doesn't get enough credit. He plays paintball more than anybody on the team. Although he doesn't practice for mastery, he does play more than everybody else. So he's healthy right now, so that's good. Him and Arslan are healthy, and Bo is. I think he's got like 3 more months until he'll be back to normal. He tore his quad. He had surgery a while ago, so he'll be back to normal pretty soon. But yeah, everybody else is pretty good. So.
So the vibe on the team still pretty positive. Obviously, going again 2-2. You did make it to a Sunday. You're currently ranked 10th overall, but now we kind of, with the pandemic, things have completely changed. So what are your thoughts before we head into the one-on-one conversations? What are your thoughts on that East Coast division?
Honestly, I think like I said, we could beat anybody. If the Russians don't come over, I don't know what that is going to be. If they're going to be able to come over for the regional events or not. I think we can take that whole division. I know J-Rab throws shade at everybody over there, but I mean, it is what it is. Teams win and lose paintball games, but that's why we're gonna get together and play. But I think us and Revo obviously would run that division. If the Russian Legion doesn't come, if they come, then obviously it's a 3-man. I think a 3-team race over there. Unless Infamous can Infamous is really good, man. They just lost a couple games by 1 at. I think it was all 3 games by 1. Like, they're a great team, and you never know. They have a lot of vets on that team. I actually didn't notice that they were in our division. So I mean, obviously the newer teams will have a little bit tougher challenge. But I think this will help them get the pace a little bit more.
coming into pro this way instead of kind of just being thrown in the lion's den and just fed to the dogs, the top four. But I think the division is going to be super competitive. It's going to be fun. We're just happy to play paintball again, and shout out to the NXL for putting this on and trying to help us out and keep us sane as paintball players during these tough times. So.
Yeah, it's tough too, with the whole, and we're just kind of waiting on pins and needles for these dates. XL's position, because they've had to go to different fields and completely start anew as far as trying to figure out what they're going to do, who can make it, who can't. And then a lot of that is also contingent upon what the states are, like the legality of certain things in certain states and gatherings. Can the Russians make it or not, at least for your guys' division? And that's why they kind of put everyone into the divisions that they are. That's why it's, people see San Diego Aftermath and the East Coast division, but there's no San Diegans essentially on that team anymore. Just like a holdover. It's like Los Angeles Infamous. I mean, there's no people from LA, I don't think, on Infamous anymore. It's just a holdover of that name.
And they're on the East Coast division.
Yeah, but Infamous, I know you guys aren't going to sleep on Infamous, but I had Cody Mikowski as he's going to be one of the competitors in the new Ultimate Shootout. That's going to be the first event and the second event were filmed in the same weekend. The first event is currently in the quarterfinals. That's the next one will be Meter and Jesse. Have you got a chance to check any of it out? I would just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on the Ultimate Shootout, seeing as there's a really good chance you're going to be playing in one here pretty soon.
Yeah, I've been watching all that. That's just film to me, honestly. That's just me doing my homework. In case I do get matched up against one of those guys, and I'm going to play him in the NXL. So just to know tendencies and stuff like that is huge. I've watched every single one, if not multiple times. Last night's the one against Matt Jackson and Nathan Roberts, that was pretty interesting. I saw how Nate Roberts ran up the score, and then Matt Jackson just went on a kill streak and just shut him pretty much out. From there, he scored like 2 more points, I think. Matt Jackson should have won that game, but yeah, it's cool. I mean, that is amazing. I think it allows the viewer to grasp the sport a lot easier with less variables that are kind of taking the attention away from the actual goal, which is to shoot the other person. So I think this is huge for the sport. I love it. And the filming and the editing, it's been great content. I think everything has been produced extremely well. So yeah, I enjoy it. So I hope other divisional paintballers are doing the same thing.
Well, hey, dude, and that's with like 2 weeks of prep. When we actually get some real prep and a little bit of more time, it'll be even better. I am excited to, I think that let's talk a little bit about your play style, because your playing style is very conducive to this type of situation, to an Ultimate Shootout, to a Pro Tour. Pro Tour is a little bit different from the rule set. So I'm hoping that, you've been studying that rule set and watching tape on, what Tyler's done to be successful there, and, how those battles have gone down. So you can go out there. Your matchup is against Chad Bouchez. So first of all, let's talk about your skill set specifically and how you look at the game. The way that you've been able to, a lot of times, start in the back, shoot a body off the break, and then move up the field and win gunfights, but make that big, bold, dynamic move when it needs to be made. That's another thing that you do. And then another thing you do is win low body situations, win one-on-ones. In that tactics, we watch you win a one-on-one in the scramble that developed against Smotroff, and you just made the correct move at the correct time and took the initiative away from Smotroff. And, there's the flyer for your battle against Chad. So let's talk about your skill set real quick, and then I want to talk about your opponent, Chad Bouchez.
My skill set is like the Go Sports caption said. I'm based off of strictly fundamentals. I'm a huge film head when it comes to paintball. I do my due diligence when watching film. I just like to play a little bit more relaxed, and then my aggressive tendencies come out when the opportunities present themselves. I understand that paintball, it's so easy to me, honestly. It's a rectangle, and you need to be in the best spot to not be vulnerable and just always stay alive. I mean, obviously, a team game is a little bit different than a one-on-one. I play completely different on one-on-ones. But at the same time, I do the same thing. It's just a little bit, the pace is different. But in 5-on-5, I'm looking for my opportunity to win the game when it presents itself. I'm not trying to force anything. I love when people force things, because that gives me kills through gaps or bad gunfights that they're not they're not supposed to be in. And then low body situations, man, that's just always been my thing. I love it. I love outsmarting people. I love winning those points that you shouldn't win, when you're just dug in and then you get those crucial kills and those people just fall into the trap. That's always been my thing. I play the long game. I'm high probability, and I'm not really willing to risk anything until I know the odds are in my favor, and then I'll roll the dice. I think that's been my biggest thing in the pro that I've learned, is that sometimes you do have to press the gas pedal, and sometimes that otherwise you're never gonna see the outcome, because if you just sit in your bunker, it's always the fight. It's like the fight. I guess you could say good and evil almost. It's like, should I make this dynamic move and win the game, or should I stay here and relax? And because I've had success from both. I've won points where I'm like, oh, I should make this move right now, and then I hold up for a second, look inside, and then this guy comes running, and I shoot the crap out of him, and that blows open the game. And it's like, oh, well, if I was running down the field, I would have never saw that guy. So it's always a constant chess match. You know what I mean? But that's what I've learned in pro, is that your instincts, man, like, it's fight or flight out there, and I'm just gonna trust myself from now on. Like, because when I watch tape after my first year, every single game, I'd be like, man, I thought this, and I should have done that, and I thought this, and I did this, and then I'd see like little mistakes. And then as I started acting on those things that I thought in the moment, I saw those were my best games. And just relying on my own conscious awareness of what's going on around me and just surviving. That's like what I'm good at. I'm just like, like, that's why they put me in the back, because I'll be there. I might shoot somebody out the break. I'll be there, and I'm good at low body situations. And you need help if I catch you in a one-on-one. And I don't have to get 3 points in a minute or something like that, and I have to run at you to get the point. It's like, I think I've only lost one-on-one in pro, and that was against Josh Pike. We were down 2 points. It was the Dallas event of last year, and we were down 2 points. I put myself in a bad position. I honestly missed 2 shots on his head. I should have blown his head off. I still get crap from my teammates to this day. They're like, oh, you let Josh Pike beat you in a one-on-one, but like the variables are and shout out.
Hey, one-on-ones are hard, dude.
Now,
you're not gonna win every single one-on-one if it's like that's why I like the way that these new one-on-one divisions have as the Ultimate Shootout Pro Tour. Look, one-on-one, 2 one-on-ones, like, that is, who knows what's gonna happen, man. You could go out and lose to a 12-year-old in a one-on-one if it's just one. You know, with a gun, everyone's got a puncher's chance. You know, that's the thing, dude. It's like
100%.
You get nicked barely and you get knocked out. Like, okay, this is I'm not physically punching you in the face, dude. Like, your physical toughness has zero to do with your ability to get shot or not get shot. Now, does that have to do with you going into deep water physically as far as your cardio is concerned? Of course. Mentally, toughness, that's important. But you just get glazed in the hopper again, you know, and that's it, dude. And that's the equivalent of you getting a massive overhand right to your jaw, knocking you unconscious in a gunfight. So in the paintball world. So yeah, so yes, dude, sure. Pike's a great player. Like, Josh Pike's a hell of a player. So, you know, you don't knock yourself too hard, even though your buddies, of course, are going to give you match hit, because that's what your teammates are there for. But, but that being said, yes, you've been, and I think this was when I heard about this matchup, I was like, perfect. Because, you know, we had Chad on the show. As soon as he got the show, he texted me. He's like, dude, as soon as we got the show, Marky had hit me up. He's like, we're putting you in the one-on-one, or we're putting you in the Pro Tour on the same card as Keith and Tyler, and you're gonna go against Pat Kraft. And I was just like, oh, this is great, because I, big fan of your games. I thought this would be interesting. So talk to me about your opponent, Chad Bouchez. You guys have conflicting styles. Styles make fights. Styles make gunfights. And you guys have 2 completely different styles. You're a little bit more cerebral. He's a little bit more of a bowling ball. He has a lot more experience than you in big time games. You guys you have never played in a finals before. You guys have only been to a certain amount of Sundays in the pro division. He's been on heat since 2012. He's been doing one-on-ones in practice against, all the Chad George and Mishka Kiesnev and Konstantin Fedorov and Ryan Moorhead and all the other balling ass crazy legends that are on Houston Heat. So, that being said, is from what I've seen, with the way, look, he's a great paintball player, and he's got some deserved starting time on Heat over the years, a little bit more here or there, but they have 10 dudes on that roster. You're definitely a consummate starter on New York Xtreme. However, skill set wise, I would have to give you the advantage here. If I was making the odds, and I love Chad, and I would, and Chad, if you're out there listening, you can call me up and argue if you want. But as far as making Vegas odds, I would have to give you a little bit of a favorite. You're not as experienced, but I don't know what your cardio is like right now. I don't know what Chad's cardio is like. I know you guys have both been out working out and running and stuff, but that's for the gram. So I don't really know. I mean, you could go just run a lap around the thing and, put the camera on, and you'd be all sweaty and be like, I'm not just out here, bro. I just did 8 miles. Just getting ready for this pro tour. Chad, you're going to get it. I have no idea what's really happening. So, but that being said, just from what I've seen as a person who's watched pretty much every single point of professional paintball since probably around 2008 and played a lot of them before that for, 15 years. I'd have to give you the nod in this one, man. I don't want to, like I said, in the tactics, I'm a fan of your game. I don't want to start having to carry your goggles around in a semi truck, so I don't blow your head up too much. But I do think that you, with the situations I've seen you in, low body situations, the decisions that you've made, how nimble your game can be, both physically and mentally. Do I think Chad could beat you? Absolutely. But if I was making the odds and I was taking bets, which I probably will at some point in time this upcoming weekend, I'd have to give you a little bit of, the favorite. But what do you think about your opponent?
I'm a huge fan of Yaya. He's a great dude, man. He's been very supportive of me throughout my pro journey thus far. Very nice guy. That being said, he does have a lot of accolades. He's been a world champion. He's won multiple tournaments. He plays for one of the best teams in the world. That's great and all. But that doesn't mean a thing to me because that's just a name that's in my way. Honestly, I thrive in pressure situations, I feel like, and that's why I play the position I play on my team. So I'm excited for this opportunity. Honestly, I know playing me one-on-one is not fun. So he better be working, and he better be ready to play a dynamic game because it's gonna be a chess match from start to finish. If he thinks I'm just gonna come out and just try to stunt on him and not play tons of mind games with him, he's got the wrong thing coming. I'm going to play very, very intelligently, and I'm gonna display my IQ. There's no team I have to try to protect. There's no teammates I have to cross and shoot for. I get to play one-on-one and have fun, yeah, because it's gonna be a long day. I'd pack a lunch. Maybe for you, I'd pack 2. So
I can't wait to see it, everyone. It's going down next Friday, June 19th. It's gonna be a super fun day, man. We got a series of one-on-ones, 3 one-on-one battles. Pat, I gotta also ask you before I let you go, and then we're gonna have the 7-man competition Saturday and Sunday, gonna be broadcast live on Go Sports. I do have to ask you though a couple questions. The upcoming battle between Dimitri Ninos and Jesse Stevens in the semifinals. I want to let me get your read on that, but then I also going to ask you about Tyler and Keith, and then the new one that's just announced today. We're announcing it here on the show: Brandon Cornell versus Corey Hall. So let's start with Meter Ninos and Jesse Stevens. Who do you got in that matchup? Who do you think's taking that one? Teammates.
Just based off what I saw in the first round, Jesse Stevens kind of played a little bit more conducive game for that format, I think. I think Meter kind of preyed on Mark Johnson's lack of gun skills, I guess you could say, to a certain point. I mean, he started killing them as he was going towards buzzards, so I guess that's not lacking gun skills, but he just kept going for buzzards and allowed him to get the kill streak, and that was just it was just not. I mean, I guess for the first round, it's a learning curve. So I think Meter had a easier game there. I think Clint was a huge dynamic player, and Jesse put the kibosh on that. I'm gonna have to give Jesse the nod on this one over Meter. No disrespect to Meter, he's a great player. I just think Jesse has the edge here.
Okay, let's talk about the Corey Hall, Brandon Cornell, the one we just announced that just got set up. And it's been interesting because a lot of guys, Brandon Short was trying to get dudes to play, and it's not. And everyone I've talked to that we've had on the show that's been willing to throw down here in these one-on-ones, all the Ultimate Shootout guys, I had to tip my hat to them. I got to tip my hat to you and Chad. But yeah, so finally willing to, after making a ton of phone calls to a lot of different guys, the match is set because I went up there, drove up to the field. I talked to Brandon. We kind of scoped everything out. And I was like, let's get a third battle, man. Who are we going to get? Anyway, so after some work, it looks like it's going to be Brandon Cornell and Corey Hall. Two Southern California guys. They both live in Southern California, but actually, no, I think Brandon's up in NorCal now, but he's from San Diego. Corey Hall currently residing in San Diego, playing for the LA Ironman. They just won the last event. And so what are your thoughts on that matchup? Who do you think is going to take that one?
Both extremely good Dorito side players. I think that honestly, I'm going to have to give the edge because of the level that Brandon has been around and has played at for a longer period of time. Obviously, Corey's coming off a win. He's a great one-on-one player. But I haven't really seen Brandon in many one-on-one situations, but I would give the nod to Brandon Cornell, honestly.
I think that Brandon is going to be the odds-on favorite in that one. He's been in the pro leagues for a little bit longer. He's actually younger than Corey Hall is, but I don't really know where either one of their cardio is. I do play golf with Corey Hall on a decently regular basis down here in San Diego. So, he's not carrying any extra weight. He's super fit right now. And I don't know how much roads he's been running by, but I've been talking to him about this, and I got to give it to Corey because when I asked him, I was like, hey dude, who are you willing to play? He's like, I'll play anybody. Like, I don't care who it is. I will literally play one-on-one against any person. Just line them up on the other side of the field and I'm down. Like I'm down. I'm absolutely in this if somebody wants to play me and if they want to let me in. And then also it's awesome that Brandon Cornell stepped up, and Brandon had to fight through that crazy illness that he had last year. We went to the hospital and almost died. But on just the fact that Brandon he's a young phenom, came up in San Diego on the Ironman, played on Impact, earned the starting nod. He's been through some crazy life stuff now. I don't know where his cardio is during this quarantine, but I think with his experience, and I think they both have very similar skill sets, but I think you have to give the favorite. The favorite is going to be Brandon Cornell in that matchup. So the underdog will be Corey Hall. But yeah, man, just talk about momentum coming off that victory. He was a starting guy, holding things down on the D side for the Ironman in a win against the hardest pro field that we've arguably ever seen. Who knows? He could roll up and he could take down Brandon and become, but it's kind of talking to some of these younger guys. I'm like, dude, you keep what you kill. You can't kill the legend, but you can kill the man. And when you roll into these moments, you get to keep that little slice of that legend. Anytime you take down somebody who's super paintball famous, you get a little bit of their glory. So let's talk about the championship though. Tyler Harmon, Keith Brown. I think this is, again, gunfight styles make fights. And this is a fascinating one because they're both super mobile. They're both nasty gunfighters. They both have wicked snapshots. So they are very parallel as far as their skill set is concerned. Keith's always an athletic specimen, but so is Tyler. I mean, they're both shredded. They're always in good. You never really see either one of those guys getting super tired out there, no matter how hot it is. Keith's spent time in Texas and Florida. So, heat's not really going to be an issue for him. It is potentially going to be insanely hot out in Paris, California. That is not a place that in ASG, cool field. I went out there. I love what they're doing at ASG. That is not like the most pleasant as far as like a climate is concerned. It's on the outskirts of that high desert area over there. It could be 110 degrees out there that day. No joke. Maybe it could be 100. I don't know. But it's not going to be 75 degrees and breezy. It's going to test people's capacity from the cardio perspective, just like we saw in the Ultimate Shootout down in Texas. And the next one's going to be even worse. So I'm interested to see who's going to be able to persevere through that. But Keith Brown, Tyler Harmon, who do you got in that championship matchup?
Oh, it's so hard because Tyler Harmon shoots me every single time he looks at me in practice. And then Keith Brown has just got an amazing snapshot. And I've only been able to get a ball on him a couple of times. So I'm a huge fan of both of them. I'm gonna give T Harm the edge because he's played the format. He's gonna get the win. It's not gonna be by much, but it's because of the format. He's played it before, he knows it. So
I do. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Again, just skill set wise, how good Keith was towards the end of last year. He was just playing like a man possessed. Tyler Harmon always plays like a man possessed, and he, like you said, has already played this format, so he's going to know that rule set a little bit more. I have to think you have to give the champion a little bit of an edge here. I think it's almost a pick 'em though. I think that with Brandon's a little bit of a bigger favorite over Corey. I think that you're a little bit closer than Brandon with you and Chad potentially, just because Chad does have a lot of deep water experience. Also in practice too, playing against all those legends that he has to battle against all the time. But I think that of these three battles, the Keith Brown, Tyler Harmon one is a little bit of an edge for Tyler for sure on the odds if I was making the Vegas odds. But relatively close to a pick 'em as far as like how much money you would have to, how much, if you bet $100, how much money do you get back? Do you get 110? Do you get 120? Do you get 100? Is it even? I don't think it's even. I think Tyler is going to have a slight edge there, but I do think that it's three awesome battles. I just love it. I just love what paintball is doing right now. I can't wait till we get back to some sort of semblance of normality though, and we can see the big boys battle against each other. Oh, wait, hold on. Just got a text from Brandon Cornell. He said, I am a San Diego guy until the day I die, Matty, not NorCal. I'll see you next week. Hell yeah, Brandon Cornell. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, so again, it's an awesome set of battles going down live Friday on Go Sports. Again, Brandon Cornell, Corey Hall. That's the third matchup just announced. We got Kraft Jr. taking on Chad Bouchez from Houston Heat. And then the championship, Keith Brown, the challenger, taking on Tyler Harmon, the champion. Again, don't forget, though, also the 7-man going to be going down that weekend as well, too. A lot of local teams out here and some teams making the journey to play 7-man. So, we haven't seen a 7-man tournament in a long time. We've seen this resurgence of 10-man. Can't wait for the Iron City Classic. That's going to be sweet. But, yeah, and then as soon as we know the dates I think there might still be some spots potentially for the 7-man. Also, sign up for the ultimate. If you can get down to Texas, sign up for the Ultimate Shootout too, because they're doing under 19s. They're doing a female competition, veterans. It's that we're trying to kind of fill that out as well too. So register today for that. But again, paintball's back, man. I'm really excited about how everyone's gone above and beyond to try to rekindle this. It's like, okay, we hit the pandemic world, and we have to obviously try to keep each other as safe as we possibly can because it's still out there, and there's just a lot of chaos going on in the world right now. But I'm really proud of the paintball community banding together here and trying to make all these different events happen. The US XBL is also going down as well. I think that's July 27th, 28th. Sign up for that. And then I just can't wait for these dates to drop so we can get back and see these division or these regional conferences fight. While we see the best teams in the world throw down. But in the meantime, we got lots of one-on-one madness coming at you. I can't wait. Dude, Pat, thank you so much again. Any last thoughts or anything you want to say before we sign off?
Just shout out to my sponsors as usual, Virtue, Planet Eclipse, HK Army, Rise Customs, Bo Milo. And for all you divisional players, go head out to the PBL 7-man series and sign up, get your teams in. I would love to see y'all out there. And thank you, Go Sports. Thank you, Matty. I appreciate your time. Thanks for having me.
Dude, my pleasure, man. Thank you for what you're doing, just keeping the fires lit. Like I always say, we're all fighting the same battle. We're just, we're in different divisions and different armies fighting and dying on different hills. So, you guys are out there, we're out here, but occasionally we come together for the fight, and it's awesome. But yeah, please, again, UXXBL, the 7-man coming up this next weekend, the Ultimate Shootout. There's lots of ways for you guys to stay involved in paintball. So let's, like we've been trying to do, keep the fires lit. We're doing this for you guys out there. Please keep supporting us here at Go Sports. I really do appreciate your support. Thank you guys so much for everything. I will see you guys next week. We'll have some shows coming at you before I drive up to Paris. Pat, again, thank you so much. See you guys next week. Take care.
Happy to have Kraft Jr. here from New York Xtreme. This is huge. For us, this is the best match I think my team has ever played.
This is the type of stuff, guys out there, if you're playing divisional paintball, you have to have things like this.
Oof, yeah, I love this moment right here. I just knew that if I got low enough, you'll see me bait the other way to make him think I'm going that way, and then kind of get low and go the other way.
He doesn't even have time to switch hands. He has to just do it one-handed.
For me, I know if you talk smack to me, it wakes me up.
Evolution. This is the future. Evolution. drop it.